I definitely had to turn that one down. That's super loud. What's up, buddy?
Hello. Happy Saturday. Sunday? Where am I?
Sunday.
What day is
morning.
it?
Sunday morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, JT. Hey, look at this guy. Best day of the week so far. Okay. Hang on.
You need more coffee first.
I'm tired. Yeah. Being honest with you guys, I'm tired. Best day of the week right here. Thank you. Good morning, Den and Matt Ruben. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I was thinking of all the midnight launches that you and I did, what was your favorite?
That's a toss-up between probably Halo 2.
Hang on.
Oh, you just asked me what my favorite. Now you tell me to wait.
I know. No, just wait. Just think about it. Okay. So we did Fable.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah.
Halo 2.
Yeah.
The 360, and PS3 and Wii, which was the same day. Okay. There's just a few. What was your favorite out of all our midnights that we did?
Yeah, I still think it's a toss-up between Halo 2 and GTA 4.
GTA 4, that was at Westmount.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking, I think Halo 2. Microsoft really treated us good. You remember they sent us all the flags, the strategy guides. We had the Joyride Studio action figures. And then our head office actually let us it was the marketing tab, but they let us clear out the entire store. Remember every shelf, all the fixtures, it was all Halo stuff. Got free Halo shirts and lanyards and
I don't know. That was like the heyday of it, right? I feel.
Yeah, that was when. Yeah.
And then GTA 4, we still got some cool promotional stuff too, but like after that, it seemed like it was just more do the midnight launch and get nothing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Halo 2 one. There was such a hype around that, and I remember going home and installing Xbox Live and playing with some of the dudes that were in line, right? I was playing with, because we had customers that we befriended and stuff like that, and just playing with them till like 4 or 5 in the morning. And it's like, oh my God, I got to work at 1. I got to go back to bed.
Actually, you know what? Another midnight launch was really good.
I
don't know if you were there or you remember that, but Burning Crusade.
Yeah, I was at White Oaks for Burning Crusade.
Yeah, I guess we didn't do that one together, but that one was
a fun one too. Burning Crusade was good. We did Wrath of Lich King together. That was at Westmount, yeah. Memories. We're here to talk about memories, WillyLo. Dusty, dirty, old, sweet, nostalgic memories. Ladies and gentlemen, dust yourselves off. Grab yourself a coffee or whiskey, whatever you want. And let's take another trip down memory lane. What's new with you before we get into the EGM? What's new with you? What's going on? What are you doing?
Honestly, it's a very quiet week. Nothing whole bunch going on. Nothing really new. Just gaming and vibing.
Well, gaming wise, what are you up to now?
Still playing a lot of Enshrouded and Helldivers. Except for Helldivers, the servers are really messed up right now because they've had like a huge influx of players, and like they just didn't anticipate the game being this large.
Right.
So they had to cap out. I think it was the article I read was like the developers said they had to cap the servers off at like 450,000 people, and they couldn't accept any more because they just didn't plan to have more people want to come in. But they're saying like their servers are like still being bombarded with people trying to log in. There's like we have to get the resources first.
That's crazy. And that's tough too when you're making an online game like that to kind of judge. I mean, that's why beta testing was good back in the day. I don't think they really do much of that anymore. At least
they still do, but it doesn't. It's not really indicative, especially with like when a game pops off like this. Like it's really hard to really anticipate that, right? Because like you would think about it, any company would love to have like a few 100,000 people playing at any time, right? So you'd anticipate like a launch of a game. You're like, oh yeah, 200,000 people playing at once online. That sounds great because that is really good for online games,
right?
You get more than 500,000 people wanting to play all at once. Like, yeah.
It's a good problem to have, but it's still nonetheless a problem they have to fix for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Darth Wizzy Wizard is here. Paynes, good to see you, mate. Ghetto, cheers, brother. TJC. Christoph, how you doing? Welcome back. Jay, why you don't have GTA San Andreas? Oh, my friend, yes, that will be coming in the next week for sure. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying that. Yeah, so I do a variety of different games. Grand Theft Auto, Resident Evil, probably the ones that I repeat the most. So yeah, just check back the front of my YouTube page. You can see after today I'll have the schedule up. But welcome. Okay, are you ready? We're on to issue 11, which I still think is 1990. So I think we did May. Last week or whatever, right? Was it May? May 1990? Right. Okay, so who remembers the Moffat Conspiracy? This was the sequel to Galago 13. Anybody in the chat remember this one?
That doesn't sound familiar to me, no.
Christoph, you're welcome, mate. You're welcome. So this is a sequel to Galago 13, which played a lot like Rolling Thunder. It was one of those side scrollers. You had to be a little bit more careful. Not a run and gun per se like Contra. But this game here in particular was known for its fantastic story and cinematics. I don't remember much of it. I really don't. So Galago 13 was not a huge game for me. Okay, let's get to it. Let's open this. I love the smell. When we crack this open, that's my favorite part.
Just have something in the PC that shoots out at you when you open up the page.
Well, some of them I do have. So the next one, I think issue 12 I have over here. So I'm just it's gonna be like virtual. I'm gonna sniff it at the same time. Wait, what?
Sniffing the crack.
Atari finds a way to bootleg, don't they? Even though there's a Nintendo seal of quality, Atari doesn't care. We're still going to put games out on the NES. And they don't have the Nintendo seal of quality, but everyone remembers Tengen, the black cartridges, because they had to be different. Not realizing that nobody cares. Matt Rubin, look at this guy. 8-month membership, dude. Thank you so very much for the support. You are the man. Maybe a stupid question, but have you ever thought about adding the link to the issue you're reviewing in the description? That's a great idea. I like it. We will do that next time for sure. You can go on retromags.com. That's where this is from, by the way. I know Den of Geek and I were talking, and he follows along. But yes, I will do that, so it's much easier for you guys. But you can download the PDF. Oh, we got a double spread. That's what she said. What? Okay, so we got a lot of different things here, Willie. We got the first look at the Turbo. Is it the Turbo Express? Nintendo Express. Sega's. What the hell's a Nintendo Express?
What? No. What?
That's the Turbo Express. So that's
get exclusive looks at Nintendo Express, Sega's Micro Drive, and the new CD-ROM for Nintendo. I think it's just like a caption. and they just put a
Okay,
photo. It's like
yeah.
a, hey, this is new stuff coming. This is where you'll find it on page 28.
Thank you. It's going to be one of those mornings. Okay, just
Yeah, that's
make
fine.
sure the coffee's flowing. That's the Turbo Express for sure. More Super Mario Brothers 3 tricks, codes, and strategies. Turbo Champ is back, so we have a spread in the middle that focuses on the TurboGrafx 16. They've been really good at alternating systems, not to upset the fanboys of 1990, and there were fanboys in the 1990.
Fanboys?
Fangirls, fanboys, fan people. There you go.
I don't know. What's a fan person?
Coming coming in May. Oh god. Hard to beat Tecmo. Well, that truer words were never spoken. Ninja Gaiden is that one's rough, man. Striving to be the best. This is the editorial by our good buddy Steve. Okay, so I'll just read a bit. We're not going to read this whole thing. Welcome once again to Electronic Gaming Monthly, your one-step source for the complete picture on video games. No matter what systems you own or what type of games you enjoy to play, EGM covers it all. Covers it all.
Covers it all? Okay.
Yeah. Encumbers. I got too many of those games. As we continue to publish EGM, we are constantly looking for ways to make your magazine better. A lot of guidance we get comes from you, our loyal readers, the ones who make all the hours at the keyboard worthwhile. All the hours of the keyboard with their 3-sentence reviews.
Most of them with typos and like a whole bunch of errors.
Exactly. That's not to say we've stopped evolving. In fact, regular readers will notice a big change in this issue of EGM, WillyLo. No, we haven't dropped any of the regular columns. We simply made them look a whole lot nicer. Oh, that's good for our eyes, at least. Beginning with this issue, we're employing a new computer system that will allow us to bring even more color and photos to the pages of this magazine. Combined with our editorial philosophy,
we're just starting at grade 1 now, okay?
We think that the addition of
work your way up.
visuals will improve the quality of EGM throughout. And I was always impressed that they could take cleanish images of games, especially like Game Boy and stuff like that. What do you I hear you typing. Will's playing Enshrouded right now, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you guys to know that. He's playing Enshrouded. And he's watching a movie. And he's watching a movie. I'm telling you right now he is.
I don't know.
Ashley's agreeing with you. She doesn't even know what you're saying, and she's agreeing with you.
Will, you remember our buddy Quirk?
I try not to.
Quirk was part of the Power Team, which is the cartoon feature in Video Power, the Video Power TV show that we watched that one day.
Oh, bad memories.
This is an early mascot. We talk about the mascot wars a lot when all the consoles are in the 90s, but no one ever talks about Quirk. And I don't think Quirk ever got an actual console release. I think he's just on the Game Boy. Yep, that's right. Oh,
I don't know where else I've seen, like, does Quirk ever continue on from there? Probably not.
I think Quirk never had a sequel.
Rightfully so.
Who doesn't want a tomato for a mascot? I mean, I don't remember any kid ever talking about Quirk the tomato, and that's no lie. Not one ever. So there you go.
I remember more about the killer tomatoes from outer space than I do of Quirk.
Yeah, exactly. What's the story? One of our favorite segments in EGM is the letters to the editor. This is where everyone, fanboys and girls alike, write into EGM 7 months before it gets published to basically give their grievances or say what they like or give suggestions. What's the story, Morning Glory? I read in a competing video game magazine that Sega never released their 8-bit Master System in Japan. Yet I get a different message when I power on my games through the Genesis converter. What's up? That same magazine also reported that the Nintendo 16-bit Super Famicom has been released. Since I'm looking to buy a Super Famicom, when it's released, I'd appreciate it if you could tell me where I could purchase one. Well, Japan. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's just Japanese. Okay. So, I mean, this is. Oh yeah, I got to read the.
I was gonna say you got to read the reply.
Christoph is. I need sleep, coffee, and Red Bull. Ooh, that's a dangerous combo. Go for it, buddy. I say go for it. Stanley, good morning. Good to see you, dude. Oh, Cutthroat, last in class, buddy. You're gonna have to go to the principal's office. Okay, you're super late.
I thought you liked this.
Yeah,
Cutthroat.
unacceptable. Severus, good morning. 5K running coffee with you guys. Oh my god, I don't think I've ever walked 5K in my life. Okay, so the response to Dan Snow from Jacksonville, Florida, from Steve is as follows. Hey, Dan, don't believe everything you read in other mags, Dan. Ooh, shots fired. Sega most certainly did release a version of their 8-bit Master System in Japan under the name the Sega Mark III. While several games were released for the unit, which had since been discovered, they have yet to make it to our part of the planet, and machines are unfortunately not compatible. The info you got on the Super Famicom was also an error.
Mm-mm.
The long-awaited Nintendo 16-bit system won't be unveiled to Japanese customers until March of 1991, according to our sources. A stateside release has been rumored for later that same year, although recent rumblings are telling us we may not see the SNES until 1992, one of my favorite years of being alive. I just added that in there. So, what magazine do you think they're talking about here? What was around? Was Game Pro around here? It must have been.
I think.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I think GamePro came later.
Okay, so does anybody in the chat know what competing magazines were out during the early years of EGM? We're on issue 11.
I'm trying to give me one thing. There was like that PC magazine, remember? PC.
Video games
PC.
and computer entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the poster mag. Yeah, that was the one I bought to rip out the ads to stick on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
It was not very good. Interesting. Yeah, very quickly I learned from buying other publications back then that EGM was by far the best. And even like Quarterman's rumors, they were almost, to my knowledge, always correct. So they were a very good source. All right, Will, you're up.
Usually, yeah. Sounds like a good one. Okay, let's see. Rating the reviews. This is going to be an actually moment. I feel it.
There we go. Thanks, JT. Appreciate it. So what? It must have been Game Pro. Let's say it was Game Pro.
In issue number 9, all 4 of your esteemed reviewers awarded Super Mario Bros. 3 a 9. Is this a 9 based on a scale solely for 8-bit systems? Or is it for all systems? Genesis, TurboGrafx included? Super Mario Bros. 3 is a good game. I would argue that it's a great game or an amazing game.
Well, yeah.
But what if an even better game comes out for the Nintendo? You'll then have to no choice but to award this game at least a 10. Then, if it is for all systems, what will you award the truly excellent 16-bit games, which may be released later this year? A 12? 14? Cosmo Holding asks from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, see, this is the kind of thing that I talk about a lot on my stream where when did it become that you have to outdo the thing before it? Why can't you just enjoy it like at the same level? Like a good game is an 8, 9, or 10. Okay, it's safe to say that it's a great game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that doesn't make much sense, Cosmo Kramer.
Yeah, I saw the name too. I was like, Cosmo. People actually, I thought that was just a Seinfeld thing. I didn't know that was an actual name. Well, sorry to anybody named Cosmo. I've never met anyone ever named Cosmo.
Well, his mom's name's Babs, so I mean, it's a family of insanity. It's great.
Hey, Babs!
Well, it's Cosmo Holding from Brooklyn, New York, over here. So Cosmo Holding. So I guess it's like it's a company, right? It's not a guy. Whatever.
You think?
Because the reader wanted to be a smart butt.
I guess. Let's see. What is the response? Oh my god, it's so tiny.
There's another one.
Oh, you want to
Wait,
read that
why
one?
is there one underneath it? So there's Gary O'Neill right underneath it. See that? And then
Oh
there's
yeah. Okay, read that one and then I'll read the response.
you guys really blew it. I'm
Yeah.
talking about your collective reviews on Space Harrier for the TurboGrafx 16. You really said nothing about the game. All you did was complain that it was just another version of Space Harrier.
Wait.
Wising up, dudes.
I feel like we said the same thing. Is that some of these reviews they don't really say jack shit.
Wisen up, dudes. Not everyone has access to all game machines you do. People who previously owned a Nintendo and own a Turbo now have people who previously owned a Nintendo and own a Turbo now have never had the opportunity to play Space Harrier, bub. And did you have
Ooh.
any useful criticism of the game? No. You just blasted it for being available on more than one system. I, for one, read your 4-way reviews before making my investment decisions. I need useful info, not whining. Well, Gary, where is he from? Say that name. Good luck. What is that name? Where's he from?
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tenacity?
Murfreesboro? Oh God.
Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro. Okay, we're not gonna get stuck on that.
Mo, good morning. Cheers.
Morning, Jeff.
Stanley says he knows Jack Poop. He's a cool dude. He is a cool dude. That's true.
Just a little plug for Jay. Don't forget to hit that like button, friends.
Yeah. Hey, you guys got to do the same for Willie. You got to go over to his channel, like a bunch of his stuff, watch a bunch of his videos. He works hard on them. Okay, do it now.
Don't do it.
Well, not like not.
No,
now,
watch the show.
but like after the show. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're gonna read Steve's.
It's Ed's reply.
Oh, it's Ed's. It's Ed's reply.
Yeah, it says.
Oh,
well, it says Ed and then period. Does that mean like edit? No, I think that's Ed, right? That would make sense to me, but it's not. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh no, that means editor.
Is that editor?
That's just
so who's?
Steve. I thought they brought in Ed to come in and like grumpicize this guy.
Yeah. A review, by definition, should examine all aspects of an item and provide a definitive appraisal of the item's worth or usefulness. Okay. At EGM, we employ 4 different players who each possess a rich background in gaming. These are the credentials that the review crew uses when looking at new game products. Each reviewer, independent of the others, plays the game to its completion before making any critical comments. The EGM reviews, unlike other magazines, are written for the players, not the advertiser, and thus provide information that that can help you decide which game is right for you.
Actually,
yeah. We don't compare games to achieve the ratings. Achieve the ratings? Achieve the ratings. What does that even mean? I don't understand that.
They don't.
It's a weird way to say it, right?
They don't compare games to achieve the ratings. The games aren't handicapped simply because of the system they run on. I think it's a way of them saying that they judge the game. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a weird sentence. I don't really get it. Space Harrier was not reviewed low because it had been on previous systems, although that was mentioned. It was given its number due to its playability. And since a 10 constitutes as a perfect game that cannot be improved upon, there is plenty of room for games greater than Super Mario Bros. 3. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. But is there games greater than Super Mario Bros. 3? I don't know.
That was the only one. That's the only page for the editorial.
Oh, that's kind of disappointing this time.
Severus says that is editor. Thanks, mate. Okay.
Thanks, Severus.
Is this the only one? Oh no, there's more. Okay, let's just see if there's any other interesting ones. My turn here. Rating the reviewers. Oh yeah, we just did that one. Revolution number 9. Super Monaco. Okay, so I'm gonna start with your coverage on the Genesis and Nintendo at the Consumer Electronics Show was spectacular. While you spent 14 of your own pages on Nintendo and nearly 65 games previewed, The latest issue of your competitors spent a rinky-dink 2 pages on the Consumer Electronics Show. It announced most of the titles you did, but without screenshots, and they severely lacked details on most of the games. That's Jason Sylvester from Bangor, Pennsylvania. Well, that's really nice. That's really nice.
Nice to have a positive comment.
Wow, your issue number 9 really blew me away. I'm having a hard time recovering. What are you doing with these EGMs? Leaf Larson?
Actually, I don't want to recover. You're making this totally intense.
Your issue number 9 really blew me away. I'm having a hard time recovering. Actually, I don't want to recover. Your magazine is totally intense, and I don't think I'd be able to function normally without it.
What?
Wow. Leaf likes video games, dude. No joke. Steve says, we sure are glad that you liked our Consumer Electronics Show coverage, guys. We knew you'd rather see the games over the people who made them. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's entirely true.
So that's like something now, right? Like, well, we're talking still a side note, but with the past like video game awards that happened, a lot of people were upset that we didn't get to see more time spent with like developers and stuff, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look in the past, the 2600 years, Nolan Bushnell wanted each developer to be portrayed as a rock star, right? So they got as much time in the spotlight as the actual title did.
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of went away for a while. Now, I guess we're in the infancy of gaming still, right? So I get it. People, for the most part, I guess back then didn't really care, but
yeah, I guess, yeah, you have to think of the time frame.
So we spent over 30 hours on the show floor creating issue number 9. Expect to see the same kind of coverage after the summer CES in issue 13. Awesome. Good stuff. That's great. I want to get to more actuallys.
Actually,
you're up, buddy.
I'm trying to find one. You said you wanted an actually. I don't know. Compliment on the maybe. I mean, this is kind of go. Okay,
Maybe,
let's try this one.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Here we go again. Actually, there's a few of them here. And it sounds like it's the debate between the Turbo and the Genesis again.
Oh, so, excellent. Excellent.
I've read your letters discussing the Turbo versus Genesis. I own a Genesis and have compared it to my friend's Turbo. And it's simply quantity versus quality. And although the Turbo has more games, the quality of each individual game compared to Genesis is much to be desired. Furthermore, Genesis has a higher percentage of arcade hits, and their sports games are more realistic. My Turbo friend and I both agree that Genesis wins, hands down.
My Turbo friend and I.
Hey, Turbo friend! You know what that makes me think of? Like, was it Jingle All the Way? Is it?
Oh, Turbo Man, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Turbo Man! Get me, Turbo Man!
I own a TurboGrafx 16, and I think it surpasses the Genesis by a mile. Do you like my smart aleck?
I like it.
Boy, that's my smart aleck guy voice. It surpasses Genesis by a mile. Turbo games have better gameplay and are more fun. Fact. R-Type and Sidearms are a couple of examples. There are also more games for it. I totally disagree with Genesis being called the system of the year. Steven, I-Way, E-Way, whatever.
This next one sounds like a really like... This person was angry, I feel.
Well, when he starts it off by saying, I am responding to the letter. Yeah, dude, take it away.
Yeah. I'm responding to a letter written last month by Mark Payne of Little Rock, Arizona.
Oh, he's calling out another reader. Oh my God. This is internet trolling before the internet. Look at this.
In his letter, he stated that the Sega Genesis had annoying flicker problems. This is definitely untrue. I work at a computer software store where we also sell Nintendo Genesis and TurboGrafx. I own both the Genesis and Turbo and have thoroughly played all the games currently available for both systems. There is absolutely no flicker problems in any Genesis game, not even Ghouls and Ghosts. Yet, in the turbo version of R-Type, there is a major amount of flicker, significantly during the scene where you fight the boss on the second level. Check it out yourself. Mark Blanco, Charlotte. I don't know where that is. NC?
North Carolina.
Oh.
Severus says, nice work here, Willie. Okay, Nerdy Boy, probably Radio Shack. Oh, Radio Shack was where you could get the
Oh, thanks, Severus.
Town, yeah. Turbo Friend was Turbo Teen. What? Okay.
Stanley's not wrong. He says probably Radio Shack.
This is Radio Shack. What that like the worst store ever. I'm sorry for anyone who likes Radio Shack. I hated Radio Shack. Christoph says Rockstar new production GTA 6, 3 cities. Oh, is that news or you're just speculating? I guess we did it real quick here. We guess Willie and I watched the trailer. I made that guess right off. As soon as they said Vice City, I kind of figured that it would be all of Florida, and Vice City is just one of the cities in there. But I'm just guessing. Anyway, okay. Okay, the top one, Will.
What? I just read.
I'm glad to see the fellow Turbo.
Oh,
what?
Turboites?
Excuse me, hello. I'm looking for my fellow Turboites.
Do you remember we used to phone each other on the phone and make those funny voices?
Excuse me, sir. I'm looking for a copy of San Andreas.
So I got to do the voice? Okay. I am glad to see that fellow Turboites writing in response to the Turbo versus Genesis. I too felt slightly upset after reading your verdict. It's just the other voice was just. It seems that you completely ignored one of the Turbo's greatest peripherals, the Turbo Tap. Have you ever played Moto Rotor? Yeah, it sucks. I can't explain. Dude, I can't even explain the amount of fun my friends and I have playing a kart like this. 5 cars racing at the same time, dummy.
Oh my God.
I play Genesis quite often. I love both systems. However, it is very disappointing that every 2-player game I've played so far on the Genesis has been completed in the first or second day of purchase. Well, we didn't know that you were the wizard. Sega has to up their difficulty, I guess. Genesis is far superior in the area of graphic realism. No turbo game can match the scenes in Revenge of Shinobi. But can Genesis match the speed or intensity of blazing lasers? So is this guy's playing both sides? Or he's just saying that they're both great to own?
I think he's saying both are great to own. He's just wording it weird.
Your article was on the money when you said that the decision rides on the type of games you like. That's where it should have ended. Don't make me come down there. Both systems are great, and I hate to see a choice made for people. They both deserve to be played before purchase. Well, how are you going to do that? R check? How are you going to do that? My reason for choosing the Turbo was because of the CD-ROM, and it was well worth it. Sounds like someone's justifying his purchase. Spent a lot of money on that Turbo CD, didn't you there, Buster? R check from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, I guess.
That makes me cool. I feel like that's a strong impulse for a lot of people. And like, I don't want to bring it up, but there's a lot of like console fandom, right?
Fanboys, call them what they
fanboys, fan persons.
Sure.
I don't know what the correct terminology would be nowadays, but there's a lot of people that argue a lot towards like certain console preferences. And I'm curious if like a lot of it stimulates from them spending the money on it and they have to justify their purchase to others out there for whatever reason.
It's justification also to themselves. If you're looking at something like the Turbo CD, I think it was around $300. It was astronomical for an add-on. It was like buying another console. So yeah, of course, when you invest the money, especially back then in the infancy of all these systems, you don't want it to fail, right?
Yeah.
And it seemed back then a lot of people just had you bought one, right? So for next gen, it would be a Turbo, a Super, or a Genesis. Most people just had one, so there was a lot of my system is better than yours because of this, and I get that. But I agree. Even if you look at something, Will, like Marvel, Star Wars, um, all that's any of that Star Trek, any of that stuff we love, people defend it so hard because they've invested a lot of their life and money into it. So
Mm.
I feel like when
I
you
just
get
don't understand when people like go out there and actively hate others who have chosen other things or enjoy other things.
well, I mean, people always try to change people's minds. I don't understand that either. Like we can like whatever we like, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I agree with you. I mean, back then, I would say I definitely had preferences music wise in high school. I would try to tell people, "Oh, you got to listen to so and so because they're great," and you're wrong. But I
Mhm.
mean, I was a kid, so how old can these people really be, right?
Well, I feel like some of them we've met working at EB, and
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of them that have brand loyalty, and I can understand if you work for a certain company having brand loyalty. Uh, Even at that, it's a little ridiculous.
Mhm.
But our buddy that we know, we're not going to name him, but our buddy Will, he works for Nintendo, and he plays everything. Right? He
Yeah,
doesn't just like, oh, I got to play just Nintendo because I work for Nintendo. But anyway, I don't get it, dude.
yeah. It doesn't. It's just that something's never just never made sense to me. I can understand having a preference, but then like going out of your way to just shoot people down for having an Xbox over a PlayStation or vice versa and stuff. It just seems so weird.
PC's better.
Or that. See, I'm married to one of them apparently.
What did you say?
She said PC's better.
Oh well, you're trying to push that agenda on me, there, Buster.
I am not. When?
Always you and another fellow EBer, you guys are all PC, best graphics card. I got this and that. It's like,
Well, we weren't pushing on it. We were just talking about like our love and passion of it.
we're gonna go play Matrix Online with full graphics. You could go home and play your little Super Nintendo or whatever you're playing. It's like, ooh.
Now, it appears anything on the Super Nintendo is probably better than what the Matrix Online was.
Oh, I
That was a-
remember you guys. Or
that was a lot of. I wasted a lot of time in that game.
the other guy. We won't say his name. We'll just, I don't know. We'll call him Mark. Mark was into Lord of the Rings. Remember, he was trying to tell us Lord of the Rings Online was better than WoW. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Anyway, we got sidetracked. I think you got the next one.
Oh, you want me to continue this?
First off, we know
First off, we know the Turbo and the Genesis have basically the same visual effects and not a lot of difference with audio output. The real question is, who is going to get the most good playing games?
what? Who's going to get the most?
I read it as it is. That's not me failing. I read it.
I don't know if Steve was much of an editor. I think Steve gathered the info and maybe typed it out, but I don't know if there's much editing going on. Anyway.
The Turbo has a lot of possible games coming from the PC engine, but how good are they? The Turbo games don't graphically impress me. Pac-Land? Get real. And don't have a great gameplay. While on the other hand, the Genesis has shown that it is going to have a steady supply of powerful carts. Another question is distribution. This is a good one. Like I'm going to say, like, yeah, distribution for these consoles was way offset, and that's a good point. In my town, there's only one store with a Turbo and SAP games. What the hell's a SAP game? Is that a store?
I have
well-
no idea what that is.
While the Genesis is in about every store. I'm surprised it's not in the corner of IGA. Oh, do you remember IGA?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
It's your choice, but I know which one I'm getting. I'm not going to tell you, but I know what I'm getting.
Okay, hold up, Chadwick. Let me just say this, Buster. That That was NEC's decision to market the turbo that way. They shot themselves in the foot. Okay, so that wasn't the turbo game system, and that wasn't a reflection on retailers not wanting to carry it. It was availability due to geographically how they decided to distribute the turbo graphics across North America. It was a poor decision. So Chadwick, if you're listening, actually, thank you very much. That was good. Christoph is something about Mountain Dew and Red Bull and vodka. Oh my God. That's nothing like telling your body, let's go up with Red Bull, and then vodka, let's go down. Vodka and Red Bull. I remember drinking a few of those a couple times. Your body's like, okay, look, Bartlett, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Oh man, I can imagine that ride.
SAP strategy games. I don't know. I still don't get
I don't know what that is.
Severus,
SAP?
what does that mean? We're missing something here, obviously. Cutthroat says, I wonder if WillyLo's wife has ever wrote into these magazines back in the day. Well, she's right there if Will wants to ask her.
No. Ashley wasn't really big on video games really until World of Warcraft.
Till the Wiz.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was really World of Warcraft that made her play video games. She's a fake gamer.
I have been playing since Leisure Suit
She's a gamer
Larry.
girl.
Zero
Gamer
games.
girl.
Mixed up Mother Goose on.
What? Can't hear you. Sorry.
William left. I'm a bigger gamer than you are.
Okay, she wants you to know that she loved Leisure Suit Larry.
Pervert.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a joke. You don't drink vodka. No, I know. I'm just saying I used to drink Red Bull and vodka sometimes. Brutality.
I've never had that together. Does it taste good?
Well, the thing with that, right, is I'm not joking. And you guys would know. You and Ash would know. Like, what that's telling your body. It's like alcohol brings you down. Red Bull brings you up. It's one of the things.
So you should get that balance.
One of these things has to give, right? It's like, what are we doing here with the body?
Your heart's probably like,
All right, the review crew. We got some new graphics. It's a lot sharper. The numbers are more bold. I don't know. It's the same thing.
I still don't like the numbers in the middle. It still bugs me.
Yeah, Electronic Gaming Review Crew. So we got a couple games here. Tato with Target Renegade, which was a Double Dragon clone. I never liked Renegade. I never thought it was a good game. I rented it, I think, once. Not impressed with it. Josh, what's up from Facebook land? Josh says, I drink Jaeger and Red Bull. Our buddy Josh from Twitch fame. What are you doing on Facebook, man? What are you doing on Facebook? Okay, so Steve, let's read what our guys have been up to. So I'm going to read Steve. Steve has been up to, Mr. Editor has been playing quite a few games this month. After blasting through Ninja Gaiden 2 and Abadox, Steve is now concentrating on Codename Viper. And Willie's got Grumpy Ed.
Good old Grumpy Ed. Ed's big complaint this month is the Phantasy Star 2 book packed in with the game, spoiling the fun. So he's upset that the book that came with it spoils the game?
It came with a novel size strat for it. And
yeah, but it's a strategy guide. You should expect it to have spoilers in it, wouldn't you?
Or, don't read it.
Yeah. I feel like that's on you, Ed. Ed and Steve watch this religiously every Sunday. I'm fairly certain.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Of course he does.
Ed's still into Bonk for Turbo. Great game. As well as the new shooter, Cybercore.
Nice. Okay, so 4, Target Renegade, not so great. Will, have you ever played Target Renegade by Tato for NES?
No, I actually haven't heard of that one.
You're not missing out. Double Dragon bootleg. It sucks. It's crap. 4. Steve says, while the intentions of this Double Dragon wannabe are nice, the execution of the idea is just awful. Although the music and the backgrounds are quite detailed, the characters are very pale by comparison and suffer from tons of screen flicker.
Ed says, let's see, Target Renegade is nothing special. The concept isn't even average in execution, and the gameplay, while borrowing from the original Renegade's theme, hasn't evolved. I expected much more, and this game didn't deliver. 4.
2 4s. They agreed. So Severus says apparently SAP is a single-player world-building game that is considered one of the best ever created. Who knew? Oh,
Really?
Something like. Do you want to Google that?
SAP?
Yeah,
SAP game.
that kind of sounds familiar now. Thanks, Severus. TJ, I haven't had a chance to check out School. What is it called? School Days? Yeah, I haven't checked it out. I haven't checked it out yet.
I feel like this is not it. SAP School Days? What?
No. School. I'm just saying something.
No, that's the first thing that came up on my thing. It's a game on Steam called SAP School Days.
No, I think it's just called SAP. School Days is another game for the Commodore that we were talking about.
Oh. That's just weird that worked out, though, because you guys said you School Days, and then there's literally the first thing on Google was SAP : School Days.
Have you guys ever played Leisure Suit Larry? The first one I played was, I don't even want to say the name. I'm gonna say it anyway. I think it was called Magna Cum Laude. Was the 360 one?
Is that 360 or Xbox?
Was it Xbox? It was on the Xbox.
I feel like an Xbox
3D game. I mean, this was in the heyday of like the Guy game, Playboy the game, Leisure Suit.
Do you remember?
Come back.
Here's a little glimpse into the life of Jay and Will. When we worked together at EB, and that that Playboy game came out, we were interested in seeing what it was about, so we stayed after hours and we popped it into the demo machine.
Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you say the things that you say? Jay and Will stayed after hours in the dark when the store was closed with the lights off and played Playboy the game for Xbox.
We didn't really. We just like. Yeah, you make it sound worse than it actually was. We just loaded it up, and then like as soon as like something was happening on the screen with that Hugh Hefner lookalike and somebody on the couch, we were just like, all right, turn it off. We're out.
Yeah, it was like the Sims with like a Playboy.
Yeah.
Terra Cresta by Vic Toki for the NES. I don't really know this one either. It looks like a shooter. The Little Scene coin-op follow-up to the classic Moon Cresta finally hits the NES. Okay. Steve gives it a 6. I love a good shooter, and Terra Cresta does a pretty good job of covering all the bases. There are intense shootouts, some unique power-up techniques, and big bosses. The graphics could have been better, but the gameplay is decent. I feel like this was back in the day when renting video games was not normal. It wasn't norm to do that. So, yeah, I mean, if EGM would have gave this a 6, I wouldn't even looked at it twice.
It's just a shooter, right? Like
it's top-down shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, that screenshot doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah, I'm trying to guess from it because that's another one that there's a lot of games on the system that like just came out and I just never heard of. There's a huge library, so it's tough to be able to play all of them, unlike someone.
What?
But yeah, what?
Maybe it's a side-scrolling one. I don't know.
Don't you have this? You have. It's an NES game, right?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't play all of those. There's no way. I was toying with the idea. We talked
just
about
playing everything.
Yeah, well, we talked about that. Like, what if we started streaming in 2015? Right. That's the first time I tried streaming. My computer wasn't good enough. But the first idea I had was I was going to go through every game. Like I was going to do like once a week. I mean, that would have taken like 20 years, but
yeah,
that was the original idea. And then some of them just are not worth playing. So I've never played this one. Nope.
Be great content though.
Oh yeah, content. The fun starts now. Wrong.
Ooh, Super Off-Road. Yeah. I love that one. That was fun back in the day.
Super Off-Road. Super Off-Road, adapted from the mega hit arcade game of the same name, is a driving game on of a different kind. Yeah, so it's a 3/4 kind of top-down view. Remember the arcade unit? I think it had 4 wheels, right?
Yep.
4 players.
4 wheels, and then you had the pedals down below, so you'd like stand up and race. It was kind of awkward to use, but man, it was so much fun.
Yeah, this is great. This is like the RC Pro-Am rock and roll racing kind of view. I love it. I love stuff like this. 7. By Yourself, Super Off-Road is a great combination of wild driving, stunts, and nice graphics. But in the
Graphics.
multiplayer modes, the game explodes as one of the best drivers ever. The arcade feel remains intact, but the game isn't as challenging. I mean, yeah.
Ed gave it a 7 as well. A good translation of the arcade that takes a bit of time to master the controls. It is one of the first racing games to successfully implement a 4-player option, and its angled track perspective allows much more of a 3-dimensional feel.
I mean, Super Off-Road fans in the chat, let yourself be known. If not, we're going to move on.
This is the one you're talking about on the cover, right? Mafat Conspiracy.
Yeah, Galago 13 Part 2. This is the cover story. Special Agent Galago 13 is back. I wonder if this is related at all to, remember that game 13 on PS2?
Yeah, the Roman numeral 13,
yeah.
right? Yeah, like the cel-shaded shooter? Yeah.
Yeah. Then they did a remake of it as well.
I never actually played that, but I know a lot of people liked it.
That was my first day at EB. I use the term loosely, our manager gave me a demo copy because we used to get the demo discs. He's like, all right, Jay, this is your first assignment. And I was so excited. He's like, take this, not Galago 13, take this 13 game, go home and play it and write me a little review on it. I thought like this is the best day of my life. Turns out he was just an idiot. And then the guy like quit like 2 weeks later, left me alone in the store. He just left.
He's like, huh?
He's like, I had to go get my haircut. And he never came back. I'm like, okay, what? Okay. I barely knew how to use the till. That's the way these things go. That's how you grow, Will. That's how you get hair on your chest and build character, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're here now.
Moffat 7. Moffat is made in the tradition of Ninja Gaiden. Oh, I said Gaiden. I can't believe it.
That's it. I'm out.
Only the action here is more laid back and the story is intense. That's not to say the game isn't challenging, and it is definitely more diverse with mazes, car scenes, and more. Thumbs up.
He had to fill the space.
Yeah, I feel like he ran.
What can I put in here that will like fill this up? Ah, thumbs up! Ha!
Great sound. The controls are wonderful. Great graphics. Any of those things would have done. Anyway, 7. That's pretty good.
Ed apparently loved this. Fantastic game. Vic Tokai has expanded the original version of Golgo 13 with a lot of action and intermissions and a story straight out of the James Bond movie. This is a dramatic improvement over the first and definitely one of the year's best. 9 out of 10.
Wow, Ed loved it. Look at this guy.
I can't believe I've never even heard of this.
Yeah. It's cool. It's got an anime art style with like
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it'd be something that up my alley.
British secret agent kind of stuff. It looks like he's got like a sniper rifle on the cover and stuff. Severus says, "Rad Racer, so many great memories, but apparently not for these reviewers."
Well, it's just like most things, right? Everyone has their thing, right?
That's true. Cutthroat says, "Did you guys quit? Did Guy quit before or after WillyLo worked with you?" Oh, the manager. Will worked there before I did. Will started in July.
Yeah, not very long before you, though.
Yeah, I got hired in September. No, Will was there. Our buddy Mark, 2 more of my very best friends. Also, I'm not going to name everybody, but that are still friends of mine today. Yeah, that first crew at that first store was great, and we were part-timers, so it was wonderful. We were working like, what is it, 20, 24 hours a week, working in a game store before GameStop bought it out. It was great.
Yeah, that was probably like my best moments working there, and then after that, not so good.
What? Well, Westbound was fun.
Yeah, but we made it fun.
That's what I mean. Out of necessity, right? Because we're going crazy.
Yeah. I feel like the company changed too much, where it was just like it kind of took away the. I don't know.
Rad
Whatever.
Racer 2. Okay, so I'm familiar with the first one, not so much with the second. It looks like it's getting a little bit of rough scores here. 7 from Steve. Beyond some graphic and sound changes, I can't really tell that much difference between Rad Racer 1 and 2. I really enjoyed the original, and the second is a welcome surprise. I wish they could have done more to make it even better. Yeah.
Ed, not very hot on it. Not a spectacular game at all. Rad Racer 2 is not any worse than the first, but it's no better either. The game controls and plays exactly like the first. Only new backgrounds and goals have been added. There needs to be a little bit more in this one. I feel like that's a good complaint. Like, yeah.
I mean, it's got to say something. The fact that neither of us have played it.
Mm-hmm. Right? I played the first one. Yeah, I actually didn't even know the second one existed.
I mean, that's the same with there's an RC Pro Am 2 as well, and that's just kind of like, okay, well, I don't know if Rare did that one too or not. I'm not too sure, but Matt says, how rare is it that Ed gave a 9 for Moffat Conspiracy? I know he really liked it. Matt, or not Matt, sorry. Ed's a bit of a hipster though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think does a lot of contrarian stuff. We're starting to learn Ed's personality, but that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, not much else to say. Lolo 2.
Great game.
Oh wow, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Can we go back to Lolo?
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's
not that bad. I played it recently. It's not that bad. Not that bad. Freddy's back. The king of movie licensed video games, LJN. The king. LJN kicks off 1990 with a video version of everyone's favorite horror character. Excuse me, Jason, but it's Freddy Krueger. Yeah. Hey, Curb Stomp. Good morning. How you doing, dude?
Morning, Curb Stomp.
6 out of 10 by Steve. Elm Street does fare pretty good in most respects. The traditional gameplay to the dream world and back again provides an interesting twist, but the graphics aren't great, and the play is not as engrossing as it could be. I think it's easier to understand than Friday the 13th, but
yeah, out of the two, I would rather play Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, for sure.
But realistically, I would rather play neither.
If you had a choice, okay, if you're in a white room with nothing on the walls, you can play this, or you can play that, or you can stare straight 2 inches from the white wall. You would stare at the white wall.
Okay, so when you say a white wall, is it a flat white wall, or is it like, do you have like any texture on it?
To simulate, buddy, just white, pure white. Boring ass white wall.
Yeah, see, in this situation, I would probably play Nightmare on Elm Street.
Fair.
Because I feel like I would go insane just looking at a white wall.
TJC says, I feel the same about working at Blockbuster Video. The company changed too much and didn't seem to be in touch with reality in the end. Blockbuster really fell off. They really, really fell off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Christoph, who's a new subscriber as of this week, wants to know, Willie, where are you from?
I'm in the same area that Jay is in, actually. We're not too far from each other.
We're in Canada. Yeah, Ontario, Canada. Yeah.
Canada.
Christoph is from Poland. So
cool.
Yeah, all around the world here. Did you ever... Oh, you haven't done Ed yet. Sorry.
No, not yet. You're just skipping over me. That's fine. Your show. Do what you want. The game capitalizes on a movie name and doesn't deliver a decent game to back it up. The play is bare bones, with the exception of some harder dream sequences, and delivers very little of the potential fun the theme could have created. 4. Yeah.
I would give it a listen. I would give it a 7. Actually,
Really?
I had fun with it. It's
Hmm.
look, LJN does a really terrible job on explaining how their games are played. But even more than that, I will go further and say that we as gamers don't read the instruction book. Because if you read the book, and you know what, you get home with a brand new game, the last thing you want to do is read the book. I get it.
Yeah.
Games like Friday the 13th, you have to read the book to understand. Same with this one. So I've learned to appreciate it a bit.
Mac brings up a good comment too. It's just so generic. Like it doesn't even like review the game. It's just like a generic statement of just like, it doesn't use the property right.
Yeah, I mean Freddy's in it, but I know what you're saying, man. I agree with some stuff that Ed says where you're fighting a generic spider. Like here, it's like a wolf or a mouse or something. I don't know what he's jumping after, like bats and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, what enemies do you make other than Freddy? And I guess that's the problem. But a lot of LJM properties, like Friday the 13th, like Back to the Future, it's just nonsense what you're fighting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Back to the Future, Marty has a black tank top. How can you screw up the way Marty looks so badly?
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. It's almost like they didn't actually like watch the source material and then they're just like, yeah, okay. We just read like the synopsis on it.
Josh says, can't expect too much out of LJN. They did one good game, Maximum Carnage. Oh, that was a good game.
That was a Super Nintendo, right? And
So
Genesis?
Super and Genesis.
Yeah.
That was the big multimedia thing that went across the comics and it went across games, and it was a huge story in the Spider-Man universe. No, I mean not as big as Madam Web the movie. I mean nothing could be as big as that, but pretty close, right? Pretty close. I was so happy to rent Nightmare on Elm Street and was not happy as it didn't have the book. Yeah, dude, that would be rough. I remember a lot of early rentals, Curb Stomp didn't give out the book because you will remember, no doubt, renting a game that did come with the book and the book was just mangled.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like places like we had a place called Jumbo Video, sometimes they would photocopy the book.
See, that was nice at least. And that's more of like those people there actually understood what the product was.
Yeah. It was some kind of effort at least. TJ says they should have made Nightmare on Elm Street the Dream Warriors. Well, that's what this one's based off of. So you do get dream powers based on that, yeah. But I don't want to read. I just want to smash buttons, Mo says. That's fair.
Not wrong. Especially when you're that young, when you're playing those games, you probably just want to play. You don't want to read.
On with it, right? Okay, we had Jason and now Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Why haven't they done any modern Nightmare on Elm Street? What do you mean?
When was the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
The 2009 or 2010 remake, which was awful.
They probably just killed the property. Nobody cares anymore.
I never say this character's name right, so I'm not even gonna say it. I'll just describe it. The Watchman, the guy with the ink blot mask that moves. You guys know who I'm talking about? That actor,
Rorschach
or Rorschach.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So that actor that played him plays Freddy.
I remember this now.
Yeah, it was like 2009, 2010. We put it on. Actually, Halloween this year. I've never seen it. I got through maybe 5 minutes and it was off. It was terrible. Rorschach, thank you. Terrible. Okay, let's move on. We gotta move here. Psycho Fox for the Master System. Average platformer. Played it. Not too bad. Severus.
I missed out I never played a lot of the Master System games.
Some good stuff, man. Yeah, the system is. I feel like it's a lot like the Turbo, just overshadowed. It's bigger in Europe for sure. Definitely bigger, and they went longer in Europe too. 7. Psycho Fox does a good job of revealing what a good game machine the Master System is. The game does have some rough points, but the graphics, action, and options elevate it to the position of one of the better Sega 8-bit offerings. 7. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Ed gave it a 7 as well. a Super Mario clone in a Sega disguise that features a fox instead of a carpenter. What?
Well, Mario was still a carpenter, I guess, back then.
I'm pretty sure it was clear that he was a plumber, especially since they're talking about Mario Brothers 3.
Maybe Ed is just being contrarian again. Maybe he wants us to actually him. I don't know. Sorry, go on.
Multi-screen scrolling up and sideways make this an inviting title with a lot of charm. All the Mario-style gameplay Sega fans have been waiting for. Carpenter?
He was
Ed.
a carpenter in Donkey Kong. He was a carpenter in Donkey Kong. Come on. And Wrecking Crew, he was a construction dude. Mario's just a blue-collar dude. I feel like the plumbing thing's stuck. Except he didn't have a tie, so that's not good. Matt, Master System, the Mark III was where you can get Metal Gear 2, the Kojima version. We got Snake's Revenge, which was our Metal Gear 2 that was not made by Kojima, which is terrible. But that's where you play the 8-bit Metal Gear 2, which is pretty good. And that came out on, I think, what was it, Will? Collector's Edition of Subsistence. I think it came with a disc. You could play that.
Yeah. I believe they're also on that new Metal Gear Remaster collection thing that came out, the first volume.
Oh, on the Switch?
Well, it's on everything, the PS5,
everything.
Xbox, and Switch. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on there too.
Right. Okay. Cybercore, TurboGrafx, another shooter, tons of shooters on this system. Steve says 7. This game is very good, once again showcasing the Turbo's ability to produce some visually stunning games that play good too. The action is a bit repetitive here and not much diversity as Blazing Lasers, but shooter fans should be happy. So if it's not as good as Blazing Lasers, unless shooter is like your genre of choice, probably stupid, right?
Man, Blazing Laser is so good. I still have my copy of that.
Dude, it's still. And Gun Knack, did you know, for NES, is technically the first one.
Really? No,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Actually, Ed says a very well done vertical shooter by NEC with excellent graphics throughout. The customizing and power-ups offer real power, and the bosses fill the screen. An outstanding game that Turbo owners will find surprisingly well done. I'm gonna have to find this one because I never actually. I got into the Turbo pretty late because I'm like one of those people I just never really seen one until I got older.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We're going to go game hunting.
Oh, that's true.
We're going to go game hunting in the spring. That's going to be fun. We're going to go to the other side of Toronto to do that. Make a list. That's what I do. So I bust open my notepad on my iPhone and I'll just something like this. I'll just jot it down.
I do something about the Turbo. I just like collecting Turbo games right now.
Oh, they're
I don't know what
great.
it is.
They're so fun. They're so fun to collect for.
Adding it to the list.
Eight Eyes.
List.
Shove It. We're on to the Genesis. Wow, there's only 2 Genesis games this issue. Crazy. Shove It is like Quirk. It's just a little puzzle game.
It's like it reminds me of Boxel.
Boxel, yes. Yep. 4. Ooh, nobody likes this one. Steve gives it a 4. Well, it could be said that Shove It is a nice game that's well executed. What in the world is it doing on the Genesis? It was great. It was a great game on the Game Boy as Boxel, but as a 16-bit entry, it comes up way too short. Not enough of a game for the Genesis. And see, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. See, again, a good game's a good game. And I think, back then it was all about the latest and greatest graphics. I get that. But looking back now, who cares? If the game is fun, do you know what I mean?
That almost makes me think of when somebody says something like that, it reminds me of people that are like, oh, if you play what the hell is that? Candy Rush. Sure, what is it?
Candy Crush, yeah.
Candy Crush.
Yeah.
You're not a gamer. You're not playing video games. They're not real. It's no, dude, man. People are playing video games. They're enjoying it. All types of forms of video games are valid, and doesn't mean that
Of course they are. And what's a gamer anyway? I feel like that terminology should have died out in the 90s. A gamer was somebody who You know, like I've described myself many times, didn't do a lot of social stuff in high school because me and a small group of buddies, we stayed home and we played this stuff, right?
Mhm.
And we were considered nerds and outcasts and that kind of thing. That's a gamer to me. Like, who doesn't play video games?
Yeah, like
Seriously.
would you somebody who loved Shove It and enjoyed playing it, are you going to like berate somebody in the same sense of who played Tetris? Like for
Exactly.
weirdly enough, like Tetris is heralded as like one of the best puzzle games out there in existence, but it seems to have more recognition as a video game than a lot of like other puzzle games, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, these puzzles, the puzzles in Shove It here, very reminiscent to a few puzzles in Link to the Past. And dude, I'm so bad at these. I would do terrible at Shove It. I'm just saying. All right, heads
Super
up.
Puzzle Fighter. Sorry, Matt was mentioning Super Puzzle Fighter. Oh, that's still my favorite puzzle game.
Sorry, let's get Matt's comment up. I like puzzle fighter games back in the day. Tetris, Dr. Mario, Super Puzzle Fighters. Never played Super Puzzle Fighter.
They had a mobile version that sucked, unfortunately, but the last iteration of it was available on Xbox 360 Live, but you can't access it. Yeah,
Probably delisted. Yeah.
I think it might be in that Capcom collection that they recently released, but I'm not sure. But man,
Dale.
I played so much of that in the
A
arcade.
shout out, Dale. Good to see you, buddy. Sorry I didn't see you come in there.
Anyway, sidetracked. Let's see. While puzzle games offer a new category for the game systems, this niche doesn't fit the Genesis format. I love puzzle games, but the average graphics and repetitive intermissions don't interest me. It's a puzzle game, but not for Genesis. Why is it not for Genesis? I don't understand this. Is everyone just like thinking like the Genesis is just supposed to be like super intense, high
Yes.
graphics?
Yes.
Is that it?
That's what I'm talking about, where a puzzle game like this was on the Game Boy. I guess I didn't know Boxel was the same game, and apparently it's the same game. So they're basically saying, why waste resources and graphics on a game like this, which I think is a bunch of hogwash. But that's, I think, what they're saying.
Oh, Severus Gauntlet. Oh, Gauntlet's so good. Gauntlet on the 64, I played a ton of. Like the 4-player Gauntlet. Oh my god.
You and I both have Gauntlet on the Mortal Kombat machine too, which is awesome.
That is true. Yep.
That's, I mean, if you were to tell kid me that I would have an arcade version of Gauntlet in my house, I would have, dude, like, yes, Gauntlet is amazing.
Such a great game.
Josh says Lemmings was great on Sega.
Lemmings is fun.
Yep. I liked, what was that Mario game? Mario versus Donkey Kong was similar to that too. That one was pretty cool. Oh, that's coming out soon, actually on Switch, I think.
Yep. Yeah, those games are fun. And they're essentially a Lemmings game. You just, was it Toy Mario's that you're trying to get to the end?
Yeah, I think was it Donkey Kong's Bad Again? I don't know. Mario works in a toy factory or something like that. I'm just making it up. I don't know what it's about. But I remember it coming out on Game Boy Advance, and it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. And it did well on the DS had a version too. I think a lot of people really liked.
So what do you do, Will, when you take football and mash it with robots? Well,
I don't know. What do you get?
My Atari, which is an arcade game that Sega translated to put on Genesis. Once again, Sega was really really big in the early days of the Genesis, buying up arcade hits. Example would be like Forgotten Worlds by Capcom. They would buy the license, translate it themselves to save some money, and Capcom didn't have to do that. So they buy it, put it on here just to showcase that, yeah, the Genesis could do exactly what the arcade does. So it was advertised to us gamers as the powerhouse, which it was. It certainly was. Okay, so 6 for Cyberball. I don't like this game. I played it. I used to have it back in the day. I would rather play Joe Montana. The whole robot thing is just, I don't care. Cyberball is fairly faithful to the coin-op game on which it's based, but the controls do come off a bit sluggish. The field also looks slightly distorted, but the real joy of Cyberball is the gameplay, and the gameplay remains. Better as 2-player, but okay otherwise.
Yeah, I never was a big sports guy growing up, so I never really played many sports games. Except for like the real crazy ones like NFL Blitz and NBA Jam and
the fun ones, yeah.
Yeah, like the way over the top
Jam
sports games.
is so friggin' awesome. That game.
Yeah. Do you remember the NFL Street games too?
Yep.
Yeah, those were great
Yeah,
too.
we were into those, man. I remember when they came out.
Yeah,
We
it's
were
just
getting
fast paced, fun. Like you're not really having to think much. You're just playing and just hard hitting. It was good. Good games.
the very basics of football, like broken down.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And like the NBA Street was kind of like the closest next gen NBA Jam that we got, I feel.
Actually, I have a question, Josh. Since you're in the chat, you're a big Call of Duty guy. I've been seeing a lot that the newest season of Warzone is Walking Dead themed. Is that true? Or is that just like BS?
Oh, Jay's going to get into Call of Duty.
I downloaded it over the holidays and played with Zach, but it wasn't for me. I'm just curious if that's real or it's just... Oh, it is correct. Okay.
Did you? Okay, we're going to have a side note, but have you done any of the new Fortnite stuff?
I haven't played since the Snake event. We all unlocked Snake. And
so there's a Shredder event right now. So if you do the thing, you get Shredder. Right. But if you can complete it, you get the Super Shredder outfit, and it looks amazing.
Did you do it?
I'm like halfway through right now. I think there's like 8 or 9 days left that you can do it. It's pretty quick.
Nice.
But I'd recommend it anyways.
It's the same season, right? It's the same boss houses. It's just
Okay. But the skin for Super Shredder is freaking awesome.
Did you do the Snake one?
I got Snake. Yeah, I'm trying to get the old man Snake.
Can you still do that?
Yep, it's still
like I
right
unlocked the Snake skin, but I don't have the old man.
Yep.
It's
still going
until the season ends, right? Because I think it's like you have to unlock vaults to.
Yeah, just the Shredder stuff only lasts for the next like 8 days or something like that. And you get if you do it as well, you get a turtle blimp glider as well.
That's pretty sick. Well, let me know when you're playing next, man. I'll jump on. Also, a Shredder skin available in Call of Duty. See, that to me just seems weird. My buddy too, she has the Cardi B skin. And I'm just like I get it. It's nothing against Cardi B. I just think it's so out of place. It's like Call of Duty is kind of trying to do what Fortnite does, except it's in this very super serious world. I don't know. It just seemed really out of place to me.
Yeah, when they started introducing like real people into the game, it seemed kind of strange.
It's weird.
But well, like again, I'm never gonna yuck somebody's yum. If people enjoy it, then why not?
Sure. Oh, is it the Nicki Minaj? Is that what it is? There you go, man. That's what I know. Thanks, dude.
Okay. Did we read a review on this yet?
You got to do it.
We just got on a tangent, didn't we?
Yeah.
A great football variation using robots to effectively replace humans. Good effects provide animation and, in the loose sense of the word, the game's matches the arcade. Oh, I didn't know it was an actual arcade game. Oh, there we go. Delivers pseudo football play and is very well done. Yeah.
Nice. Moving over to the Atari Lynx, where Gauntlet 3 is the feature game for the Lynx this month. 7786. Pretty good. I remember my one buddy, he had this. He had a Lynx, and this was one of the definite must-have games for that system. How cool. You have a portable that's color, and you get to play a sequel to Gauntlet on it. I think that's great. The Lynx games just keep getting better with each new release. Gauntlet 3 highlights the power of the Lynx beautifully, with multi-directional scrolling first-person windows and plenty of action all taking place on the screen at once. Fantastic.
Another filler word from good old Steve.
From Steve, he runs out on the last line, right? And then I'm surprised he didn't make his font bigger.
This is the perfect game to showcase the power of the Lynx. The game bogs down. Sorry, my internet made this all fuzzy. Hold on. There we go. So bogs the game down somewhat in the large quest, and the action is solid. And the combination of the detailed graphics in both overhead and first-person windows is different and fun. 7.
Not bad. You guys are enjoying the content. If you like Sunday mornings with me and Willie, please let us know. Hit the like button right below there. It does let me know that you're enjoying the content. We seem to be getting a growing audience in our Sunday mornings, which I think is great. JT said at the beginning that this is the best day of the week.
Aw.
I'm getting there, man. I love hanging out with you guys and with Will on Sunday morning and just chilling and going through old, dusty, dirty, old nostalgic memories. It's wonderful. I love it.
When you put it that way, it sounds awful.
It's just jokes. It's just jokes, baby. WCW. Oh my! What is? Oh,
My eyes. Quarterman, what have you done?
that's the worst font in history. It looks like a mom and pop toy store sign font. Never give up hope, JT. Bishu will be back, and in higher numbers.
Maybe we just have to start bringing our own Bishu ads.
Dude, I still think. Well, hey, listen, we're going game hunting. Well, dude, put it on the list. Just
What?
put Bishu anything.
Bishu?
Bishu anything. I think you and I need to get one each in our collections just to have representation of something that we hold so dear.
Bishu anything. Got it. It's on the list.
Okay, let's read. Quarterman, of course, is in charge of the rumors, and what I liked about Quarterman back in the day was most of his stuff was true. Let's go for a smallish one here. The Camerica CD unit for Nintendo is pretty cool. It uses a special interface board packed with 4 meg of RAM. What? That's insane.
Unheard of.
Chips, and then it connects to your standard CD player. Who had a CD player in 1990, by the way? Let me know. By pushing play on the CD, you can download the game info onto the RAM board, and then the game begins. What is this sorcery?
Dun dun.
A more advanced system will supposedly be offered and have a pad with a built-in play button for easy access to starting the CD. Watch for more details to come. Color Dreams is getting their first super games ready. He just goes like into the next thing, right? Do you notice that?
It's a lot of like really weird run-on sentences.
It's broken off, which is nice, but the same paragraph will have like different subjects.
Yeah, it's just it really is just what he's thinking at the time. So I bet these are like when he's watching things, these are his notes. He's literally just like typing things down, and then he's like, I'm just gonna put it here. Well, I guess not typing. I guess we'd be writing things down at that time. But
yeah, short form. He went to school for 4 years to learn short form. The extra memory and processors to the board come at a higher price. Try $80. It could be worth it, but they're investigating the possibilities more. And no, it wasn't Color Dreams I was thinking about in my previous column when I said that the company had an interface that turned into the Nintendo. It turned the Nintendo into 32-bit. He's like years ahead here. We haven't even got 16-bit Nintendo system yet.
Mhm.
Our staff has seen it. While it puts up some cool graphics, there aren't any games ready. This Camerica thing, I don't believe ever surfaced. I don't ever remember seeing anything on it. But
it's cool though.
Curb Stomp says, I miss my PS2.
PS2 is great.
That was a great gen.
I always have like it's always a toss up. Like the PS1 has really good memories for me as well, and the PS2, like those two eras. And I love my 64, but I got a 64 later on. But I don't think the 64 really held up to like the PlayStation 1 and PS2. Personally, for me. Easy.
Curb Stomp had a CD player in 1991. My girlfriend had a CD player, and I would buy CDs to listen to at her house because I didn't have one. So there you go. You were lucky you had a CD player in 1991. Did you, Will? I don't know. Is that a thing?
I was 6, so no.
Well, your parents. Did your parents have a CD player?
No. Not until probably 2000s. Then we had like more CDs.
That to me, Curb Stomp was like, in like 2009, right? 2009, you knew someone who had an iPhone and they were on like the next level, right?
That was Jay.
Like,
Jay walking into to work.
No.
I got my cool iPhone. I'm so awesome.
Not me. That was our buddy Zach had that. I had I don't even want to say what I had. I'll just say it. I had a blackjack. Do you know
The
what that
hell's
is?
that?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that. I remember a blackberry.
Yeah. Well, blackjack was like the Fido, which is a Canadian company. It was like a Fido bootleg BlackBerry. It was called a blackjack. That's what I had.
Oh.
And my buddy had an iPhone, which is essentially a freaking computer in his hand. Yeah. So anyway, did you want to read a rumor from Quarterman?
Yeah. We're gonna do this one. It looks like it starts off about The Simpsons. Watch out, Homer. Bart and the rest of the family will rest of the Simpsons family to be hitting NES screens later in the year. Quarterman's favorite cartoon will soon be available from Acclaim, who has expressed some interest in the concept of Bart Simpson's video games.
Look at the SI typo.
Yeah. It's I have an issue reading this Quarterman stuff because sometimes it just doesn't really make sense in my head. And I think it's just like cliff notes that he's writing.
Yeah, the way it's presented too. Well, I do appreciate the abundance of information. It's very wordy, right?
Yeah. And then he does stuff like this. Yo, homeboy, I can't wait to see it.
Is he quoting Bart? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I think he's quoting Bart.
When does Bart say homeboy?
I think he says homeboy in the early stuff.
Hmm.
Does anybody, any Simpson nuts out there, know if Bart says yo homeboy? It sounds like he does. I think he does in the early episodes. Anyway.
Anyways, well, I finally saw the Turtles come to life on the screen, and I must say it was better than expected. Still probably the best comic book to movie adaptation in my mind. Just saying.
100%.
That movie is incredible. And if
great.
you haven't seen it, it still holds up. Go watch the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Cutting the kitty stuff would have probably alienated most of the audience, but I would have liked it better. Speaking of Teenage Mutant Turtles, the upcoming Konami sequel to their blockbuster hit of last year is getting close to completion. Expect to see large graphic characters, plenty of detailed backgrounds, and action that is right out of the arcade version of the game. Doo-doo.
It was literally the arcade version of the game.
Yeah, that was a great adaptation and port.
Curb Stomp says yes in the first 5 seasons. Bart said that.
Huh. I don't remember him saying homeboy, but yeah, I haven't watched the older ones for a long time.
Matt says, out of the N64, PS1, Dreamcast era, the PS1 will always be my favorite because of Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy Tactics.
Mhm.
There were many great games, but those 2 games made it for me.
There's so many, like, I was big into RPGs growing up too, so the PlayStation 1.
Dude, yeah.
Man,
yeah.
there's so many JRPGs on there, like Parasite. Like, Square Soft at the time was killing it. Then we had, like, Xenogears and Legend of Dragoon, Chrono Cross, yeah, like all the Final Fantasies.
Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9.
Yep. Final Fantasy 7, yeah. Man, such a great system.
Yeah, so again, just playing the opposite, right? Like 64 had nothing. Not that way. They had Zelda, which I still
they still have like
Zelda RPG, but
it's like how Nintendo is now, right? Like they have the Nintendo staples, but they don't have those other brands that really like help elevate it a bit more. Like I love we were talking a little bit beforehand. I love my Switch, but like my Switch is dedicated to Nintendo only titles. I don't play anything else on my Switch. But then like you also have to think of like Capcom really rose out of like they were doing great on the NES and Super Nintendo, but like I feel like from the PS2 1 era, like especially with like Resident Evil and stuff, like that really brought them out. And a lot of people will remember more for Resident Evil on the PS1 than they do for a lot of their earlier work.
Yeah, and when you're getting arcade perfect translations of Street Fighter 2, it's no joke for sure. Even 3DO had a really good translation of Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
You know what's a weird stat? This stuck out to me because I just read it recently.
Mm-hmm.
But Tekken, the latest Tekken game has sold more than both Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 1. What do they call the new one? 1.
Just
11?
1.
1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Tekken
to
8?
me, like the new Tekken was always like the third tier fighting game compared to those two,
Yep.
right? And then
Yep.
now it's like everyone's buying Tekken, which the game looks phenomenal. But it's just kind of like that was just a weird like change for me. I was like, huh.
So Tekken 8 is Tekken.
Mhm.
Street Fighter 6 is still Street Fighter, but there's a lot to it. There's a lot that the fighting game community did not like. Like the
Mhm.
create your own fighter, you can make some really wacky looking dudes. There's a lot of balancing issues. There's a lot of online issues when matchmaking.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat 1, from what I hear, I don't play Mortal Kombat, but from what I hear, is very lackluster.
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me. Tekken is just more of you like that thing, here's more of it. They just called Tekken 8. Do you know what I mean? Here you go. Here's another one. So Tekken's pretty good, man. I enjoyed it. I haven't played one, dude, since like PS1. Long time
Yeah,
ago.
like the last Tekken I think I really got into was Tekken Tag on the PS2.
Yeah. Once Namco's great. Like once they started doing Soul Calibur, I kind of stopped Tekken. I'm like, oh, now these guys got swords. I'm like, okay, this is like way better. So
Yeah. Oh, Soul Calibur is so good. And then like they ran that into the ground.
well,
Anyways.
they made the error. It's easy to look back and say that now of putting the licensed characters in. They didn't need to do that, right? So just stick with your own dudes. I think it works fine.
Yeah. I had no interest in Tekken until like recently. I'm watching some people play it and I'm like, yeah, this looks good. I think I'm gonna have to pick up a copy.
Dale says, I'm not really good at RPGs, but with turn-based, tried to play Baldur's Gate yesterday. Oh, you tried to play 3? Well, did you like it? Man, that game is pretty sick, man.
Yeah. It takes a bit. I think there's a lot of people that are experiencing that top-down isometric like play style. There is mods for that to change it. My wife actually has a mod that makes it a third-person game instead, where you're a little bit behind. It plays more like Dragon Age, and it looks really good. If you want that route, I can find out info for that. Anyways, but like that game is so good. That has like crazy story elements. The characters are so well developed, but like the fact that you can interact and play the game almost how you want, and the game responds to you, is mind blowing to me.
But let me ask you this, because I'm not a Baldur's Gate player.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 2 came out, what, 20 years ago? At
Yeah.
least.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look at, not every company can afford to take that much time. But my point is, when you take your time, look at the results you get.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Right? Curbstomp says, I will F anyone up on Tekken and let you pick the character. Oh,
dang, calling out.
Sounds like a challenge. Not to me, dude. Not to me.
Listen, I'm bad at fighting games in general. Yeah, so you're guaranteed to beat me up, but I'll still have fun watching you beat me.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe you. That's for the chat. Anyone who wants to take on Curbstomp, get his gamer tag. Matt says 2D fighting games were all Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. 3D fighting games were all Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Yeah. Anybody remember Virtua Fighter? Nope.
I would agree. I would say when Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat entered the 3D plane, thank goodness they don't do that anymore. But when they entered that, yeah, I think those were the weakest. I would agree.
Keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So Josh says Baldur's Gate Alliance is one of my favorites on the PS2 and Xbox. Yeah, that game is solid. But again, it just shows like when you take your time and you sit down and you have like a nice decade to develop, you can really turn out some great high quality stuff. More companies ought to take a page from Baldur's Gate 3's book. That's all I'm saying. So international outlook. What was great about EGM back in the day was that they did a lot of Japanese coverage, which most magazines, from what I recall, did not. And if they did, it was very small. But EGM, back then, Japan was the future. We would see these great companies like Sega, Capcom, Konami, Nintendo. They would have these games that would come out in Japan, and we would see them months later. So Japan really was the future of video games. So here we got some great Genesis stuff, aka Mega Drive. Phantasy Star 3, one of my favorite RPGs of all time. You guys like Phantasy Star? Come on. They really changed it with the online Phantasy Star, for the good, for the bad. That's up to you. I like personally, if I could have another Phantasy Star, I would pick Phantasy Star 5 and just make it a single player RPG style. Although I did play my fair share of the online stuff and I did enjoy it. But I would say ultimately I think Phantasy Star is a better single player game. But you know what? The world of Phantasy Star is so rich and really underrated. It really is. It's kind of like if you took, I don't know, how would you describe Phantasy Star? Well, if you took like Final Fantasy and mixed like it's technology based, like
It kind of almost goes to like the cyberpunk ish fantasy.
yeah, it takes a page out of Final Fantasy.
Cyber fantasy.
It's more.
I think that may be something different though.
D&D. Oh no! Don't Google that. Don't Google that.
I'm doing it. Oh god.
More. Are you doing it?
I'm gonna get put on a watch list. Oh no! What is okay? Cyber fantasy countable facilitated internet or cyberspace. Wikipedia. Maybe I just made up a term. No, they just don't describe what it is. Fantasy facilitated by internet or cyberspace. Yeah, like there's a lot of videos of like these Android fantasy medieval kind of type games. I think that's the term. We're gonna go with it. Cyber fantasy.
Final Blow, which I think we did get, and it became James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing in the U.S.
Final Blow sounds way better than whatever you just said.
Well, it's all about, Buster Douglas, right? The boxer. It's all about, Sega was all about getting the athletic endorsements. This was before that stuff was a norm. I think Sega was a pioneer in doing stuff like that. So this would have been the Sega, oh, this was Taito. Okay, so this is not James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing. Never mind. Scratch that. I'm wrong. Incorrect.
Best
Final
boxing
Blow.
game still to this point. Fight Night 3.
Better
Fight
than
Night Round 3.
Better than NES Punch Out?
Yes, 100%. Fight Night Round 3 on 360 is fantastic.
That was so good. Do you remember that? Oh.
Man, how many nights? I have no interest in boxing. I've never watched boxing.
Yeah.
But man, the amount of time that we spent playing Fight Night Round 3,
back in the achievement days. Yeah, that was, remember just the haymaker.
Yeah.
Right.
And like being able to see like the facial like features of your character, like their skin and the sweat, and man, that was like the showcase of the 360 where you're like, man, this is next gen.
Yo, Joe, Kiwi at G.I. Joe Customs and Collection. How's it going? Happy
Welcome on
Sunday
in.
morning. Grab yourself a coffee, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. Kite Warriors 3. Again, this is just, to me, I mean, I love SNK. I never liked the Kari Warriors. It's just a bad version of Contra to me, but I might be biased. I don't know. I don't know what the Mountain King is. Do you?
Mm-mm.
The second release, oh, it's for super graphics. That's why. Okay. Super like elite stuff.
Look at that Game Gear.
Dude, they were referring to that on the table of contents. Handheld, NES, and Sega. First look at the new systems. Oh, no, that's the TurboGrafx Portable.
Yeah, they listed as it, yeah.
Who had a Turbo Express? Who had a Turbo Express in the chat?
I only recently found out that this thing existed.
Never, ever had it. I think I've only seen it a handful of times.
So if you ever saw one out in the wild, say when we go on our excursion to go find retro stuff together, if you saw one, would you buy it?
No.
No?
They were expensive back then, and they're expensive now.
But you wouldn't want it to have your collection? Like it's not like a
But I
rarity.
wouldn't want to pay what people ask for it. I don't even know. Excuse me. I don't even know, but I know it's up there. Again, the portable stuff doesn't really, like, I don't even have a Lynx anymore in my collection. Any of the Lynx. But that
You're also
Game
not like
Gear-
a big handheld guy either.
Yeah, I don't like handhelds. That Game Gear, I got mine. It was in the back room at EB for $5. Remember?
You still have your N-Gauge? That was like $5.
I don't. My friend, do you have any idea what those games are worth for the N-Gage?
Mm-mm.
They're worth a fortune.
Man, do you remember when we were clearing those out for like $1?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
And we both said, we're like, why don't we just buy these to hold on to them? And they're like, no, that's stupid. Nobody wants this shit.
No one wants a cell phone system. And the system itself was blown out for $9.99. I remember that. The games were $1, $2. Guys, the N-Gage, if you know what it is, look up the game prices on eBay right now. Hundreds of dollars each. Especially like big IPs like Elder Scrolls was on N-Gage, Call of Duty, that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. We could have retired, Will. We could have bought houses each.
No, not that much. Really?
Look it up. Go on eBay. Go on eBay.
I don't want to make myself feel bad today.
Look up
I'm having a good day.
games.
We're having a good day. I don't want to feel bad today.
TJC says, Jay, WillyLo, did either of you have the N900 phone?
The Nokia 900?
No, I did not.
Is that the brick one? I never had one of those. My first phone was like a Samsung flip phone.
Yeah, mine was a Fido, which is a Canadian company, Fido Flip, because I liked hanging up. You know, you hung up on people, you go, snap it up.
Yeah, you felt so cool.
So cool. It's like, all right, man. Yeah, see you later.
Remember when the Matrix came out and everybody wanted those like retractable ones where you like jet it out?
It was
Yeah.
like you were dispensing an empty cartridge from like an AK.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Galoob to introduce the amazing game. Hey, you want to manipulate and bootleg your NES games? This is the Game Genie.
I love that Game Genie scene. Like when you're putting in the codes though, and how like the numbers like flip around when you're going scrolling through them and stuff.
It's right there, the bottom left. See?
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't show that effect. Like when you highlight it over it, and it looks like the thing's spinning. Like back in the day, I mean, that looked like way advanced.
Yeah, it did. But you could tell right away that this thing was bootleg. It was not licensed by Nintendo. But you would put your cartridge on, attach it. The other end would go into your NES, and it would allow you to basically go into a debug mode for each game.
Yeah.
You could like manipulate, like Birdo from Mario 2, the bottom right. Look, Birdo, she spits fish. It's like, so what? You could jump over the flag in Super Mario Brothers and crash your game.
Big whoop-de-doo. Yeah.
Curbstop says, oh my God, I remember the Game Genie. I had one. It was great. You liked it? Matt says, I had the NES Game Genie. It was great when it worked. I didn't like it. I was not a fan. I was never a fan of that. Anyway, did you like it? I didn't like any of those things that...
I always thought it was cool.
I felt like, look, if you were going to give yourselves infinite lives in Mario, if you didn't know how to do the step trick, I felt like... Because I really took this stuff seriously back in the day, I looked at it like cheating was bad. Like you didn't earn those men, you weren't good enough to get those men, so you're kind of just. I didn't like it, but that was just me.
That's fair. There's not, yeah. Everyone's different, I guess, right? Like we were talking about that, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool, like add on. I always thought it was cool how you'd like connect it and then. You like put it together and then it like stacked on top and the genie was like on top of the game. You're like, yeah. I don't know. I was a dumb kid.
Tricks of the trade. Once again, we don't spend a lot of time on tricks of the trade because it's, if you guys want to get your pen and paper and write down codes for Super C to get a secret sound test mode, here you go. Here you go. But of course, back in the day, this was one of the best sections in the magazine, man.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find, too, that back then, Will, like Revenge of Shinobi, let's just say this magazine came out a year from this point. Learning codes like this gave older games that you had in your library new life.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
If Revenge of Shinobi was like a year old, you now had this to get you like bonus men or bonus shurikens or whatever. It just made the life or the game come back to life kind of thing. I loved it.
But you didn't like the Game Genie. It almost sounds like the same thing.
It does, but these were codes that were programmed in by the companies. The Game Genie kind of just did, I don't want to say illegal, but manipulation. Do you know what I mean? So if it was a code you would input through the controller for Revenge of Shinobi, say, Sega obviously wanted that in there, but the Game Genie was almost like forced itself into the game. It was like assaulting the game, pulling out code that wasn't necessarily meant to be pulled out. Just calm down here. Calm down.
I did not realize that you were so anti Game Genie. Okay, this is something new we're learning about each other.
Vickman, good morning. Never saw the Game Genie here, just in comic ads. Good to see you, buddy. What else we got here? Cyber. Oh, there's your game. There's a game you're on the hunt for. Cybercore. Now, when you
Yeah.
find the game, Will, you can come back to issue number 11 and look at all this. Look at all these codes.
It's a lot of codes.
A lot of codes. Full ring blaster, full spread laser. So it allows you to pretty much type in whatever you want from the beginning. Get your weapons loadout. That's pretty cool. Level skips. Crazy. There's our Harzalgzvi game. Level select backwards.
Jesus Christ.
I never.
What was that?
I don't know. Ashley's getting excited for her Zog's Vi, apparently.
Is she playing Baldur's Gate still?
The skeever.
No, she's playing the Skyrim.
The rat jumped out at me.
Arcade Alley. Oh my god, I haven't seen that game. I'm looking at Data East's Too Crude. Oh, I remember that game. Do you remember that one on the bottom?
Comic?
was-
That looks to me. That's not what it is, but I don't think I don't know what that is. It kind of reminds me of that Comic Zone game.
It was like Double Dragon, but you were like two big muscle dudes.
Huh. No, I never played that one.
I remember that one. Oh my god! And Aliens.
I did
is
play this one.
before Capcom got a hold of the license, and we got that incredible Alien versus Predator game in the arcades. This was before. This one was great too, man.
Mm-hmm. I remember
that one?
really liking this one. I do remember this one.
Following hot on the heels of the current coin-op champ, Konami's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, comes Konami's latest side-scrolling action-packed quarter chomper, Aliens. Licensed from the blockbuster movie of the same name, the video game version is one of the best movies of all time. Follows the storyline from the motion picture. You got to play it. Wait, so your quarters go now.
Ah!
Is that Ripley? I don't know. Do you remember, Will?
No, actually, I don't remember now.
Looks like the character has blonde hair. I'm guessing it might be before Ripley or after Ripley. I don't know. If you're in the, does it say? Oh, it says it follows the story, so
It must be Ripley.
must be Ripley.
Like the clothes do look kind of the same.
Yeah. Dale says the two bigger looking comic dudes were in the sequel to Bad Dudes side scrolling footing game. So that's what this is then. This is sequel to Bad Dudes. Okay. Thanks, dude. Good to know. Yeah, they looked really familiar. Too Crude. Cool. Coming at you. Egg through the what? Oh, that's the ball.
You have egg on your face? I don't
I
know.
got
Oh,
egg.
pinball getting hard.
Look at this right here. Watch for our games at the Nintendo World Championships, soon to be in a city near you. Oh, now
That'd be sweet.
there's a cart that's I wish I had. I've seen it, I've held it, but I don't have it.
Dun, dun, dun.
I got a reproduction of it. I can't remember the company that used to make those repros, but it was
Do
an
they
actual.
still do it? They probably don't do it
I
anymore.
can't
obviously.
remember the company, man. Yeah, but Nintendo World Championships, obviously legendary. Dodgeball, one of our favorites. Phantasy Star 2, is this a continuation? Last time, this is the continuation, I think, of
Yeah.
the walkthrough. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. This stuff's awesome, man. Even though you got the player's book with it or the player's strat guide with it, this is still pretty cool. Step by step. Wow, they really went all out. This was Ed, I bet you, doing overtime. Next wave. Games coming out. Target Earth. Notoriously difficult shooter for the Genesis. Ninja Gaiden 2.
There reminds me of one that was on Super Nintendo, but I can't
Or
remember
Go
what it was
Back.
called.
Target.
Yeah. What the heck was it? Metal something I played on the Super Nintendo that had a character that looked
Oh
similar.
yeah, not Metal Slug. Metal.
No.
Yeah, the graphics are kind of Robotech-y a little bit.
Oh man, that's gonna bug me. What is it?
NES Metal Metal S. I don't know.
Is it that
We'll
one?
look it up.
Is it literally? Oh
Everybody,
yeah, Metal Warriors.
Metal Warriors. I go. I was way off. Anybody who remembers the NES or still plays the NES to this day, no doubt you've played Ninja Gaiden. I would say 2 is arguably the best in the series. It's the easiest of the 3. The only one I ever did finish. But yeah, it improves a lot on the first game with being able to not just jump back and forth doing the wall jump, but you can actually get Ryu to cling on and just walk up. It was so good. And the story was so good.
The second one was definitely, to me anyways, better than the first.
Yeah. Who's saying Narc? Did I pass Narc? Oh, Narc's coming up. Yeah, well, we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Dale says, I watched Pat the NES Punk and the Angry Video Game Nerd play Nintendo World Championships. It was the remake Blue Cart. Yeah, that's the one that I had. I don't have it anymore, but I had that one. I can't remember the company that made those. They were cool, though. Bigfoot. Oh, look, another one from the Power Team, Willie. Bigfoot.
I think I played that one.
Quirk
I remember
Little
that.
Tomato, Bigfoot, Heroes from Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors, and the Narc guys. Crystallis.
Crystallis was amazing. Such a good game.
Genesis. Pat Riley basketball. Interesting that their first party basketball game, the coach was the figure. Pat Riley, I think he was coach of the Pistons at the time, I think. Anyway. What else we got coming out here? Dirty Harry and NES. Narc, there you go,
And
guys. There
Mindscape.
you go. Narc for NES.
Did Dirty Harry come out? I don't remember a Dirty Harry game.
Yes, it did.
Huh.
Yeah. Who makes it? Mindscape, yeah. I don't remember it either. It looks like Rolling Thunder. Same kind of game. Josh says the last one I played and beat was Ninja Gaiden on 360, which was, I believe, the third one. That series rebooted again on the Xbox, I remember. That was Xbox exclusive, that Ninja Gaiden. Man, that stuff was hard.
Yeah, it was for a while, and then they ported it to the PS3, I think.
Oh, Vickman says Pat Riley was a Lakers coach. Okay, thanks, Vickman. I thought it was Pistons. But interesting that they got a coach to be on the cover of their basketball game. Narc. Let's talk about Narc. I mean, Narc in the arcade was known for 2 things. One being over the top, ultra violent. Before Mortal Kombat, Midway put this one out. It was so violent and very adult, like druggies, like throwing dirty needles at you as weapons and stuff like that.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was very adult. Digitized, excuse me, guys. Digitized graphics. So again, before Mortal Kombat, it was digitized actors being filmed. Just incredible game. And the fact that such a violent game with such intense graphics was coming to the NES back in the day was a really big deal. Because yeah, Narc was 32-bit. Like, it was impressive looking.
That's one I just never got around to playing for whatever reason.
Yeah, if you're gonna play it, play the arcade version. It's awesome. It's hard. Like the big drug dealer at the end, his name's Mr. Big. That boss fight literally takes hours because it's so difficult. It's
hours.
It's at least an hour to do.
Wow.
The number of shots you can get off on him compared to when you die like this. I've never done it, man. But imagine like being a kid in the arcade, putting in quarters for something like that.
That's crazy.
HGC, welcome. Narc was legit blowing up bad guys. 8-bit body parts flying around on the NES. Yeah. And again, Nintendo wasn't known for having violent games like this. So the fact that Acclaim was allowed to port this over is pretty big. Okay, some turbo stuff. Well, I'll let you go through these.
We get Double Dungeon. Genesis fans are enjoying RPGs like Phantasy Star 2. Turbo owners will soon get exposed to a new type of adventure gaming in a game called Double Dungeon. Huh. That kind of looks like an Ultima type style game. That looks kind of neat.
So yeah, it was a first-person maze kind of game. Remember Phantasy Star 1? How you had like those mazes?
Yep.
It was like that, but I think you could play 2 players. I think.
We got Bloody Wolf, which I have played that one. That one's pretty fun.
That one's great. Yeah.
Camp California, though. I have no clue what this is. It's a turbo game.
Looks like a summer games kind of thing, maybe.
You're just bears, but there's people too. Huh.
Does anybody know if Camp California came out? Because I can't picture it.
I don't. Yeah, this doesn't seem familiar to me, but it looks kind of neat.
Yeah, I can't picture this at all.
Kind of reminds me of like the California games.
Tecmo Bad News Baseball, not a fan.
Oh, here we go. Survival guide.
This came inside the issue of EGM and would actually pull out without tearing. So you had an actual separate magazine for this. I mean, this is one of the many things that separated EGM from regular game magazines. Like stuff like this was so awesome. Gaming strategy guides were not a thing back then. And if you got gaming strats, it was not norm. Remember, it was those actual novel-sized
right.
players, like cheats and codes handbooks, like those.
Yeah, like the actual books. Yeah,
it was just like textbooks, right? But this was full color. Tells you where all the power-ups are. And Mario 3, you know it's all about the Hammer Brothers suit, the Tanuki suit, and the anchor.
And the also like the the whistle flutes.
The whistle, which would warp you. The anchor, which I've never got.
Yeah, I haven't got the anchor either.
It's the rarest item. It will stop the warship from scrolling, so you get to go at your own pace. It's a lot of work to get it, but the anchor.
I don't think many people are in my boat, but I love the frog suit.
Oh, frog suit is awesome. That's like that would be like some kind of world record challenge, right? Like beat Mario 3 from start to finish with the frog suit. Like,
I don't know why I love that so much. I just love the look and everything, and just how they move around, and especially like it made the water levels so much easier.
Yeah, totally handicapped you on the land, but it still looked so great. It looks great. It's a new player. Oh, so this is just newer games that are out this month. Abadox. I love how EGM was still. There's the Moffat conspiracy ad.
I got to look up that one because I've never heard of it, but it sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's, as you see the middle TV, there's racing segments. There's some first-person shooting segments. EGM was great at, even though NES and Sega Master System were on their way out in terms of graphics, they still kept the coverage going. They covered everything. I love that. There it is. Here's our game. Here's our featured game. Yeah, this is great. Driving segments, shooting, like sniper segments, and then action side-scrolling parts.
Yeah, this seems really cool. I don't know why I've never heard of it.
A great style. I believe this is a comic book, I think. Anybody in the chat know? It's deeper than just the game. I don't think the game is this thing, or unless that stuff came after the game was released, but I thought it was more than just the game. Genesis, we've got Air Diver, which is that flight simulator that we didn't look, or we didn't like, remember, because this takes
we didn't look. Screen. Yeah, that does not look like a good game.
Doesn't look
like
good.
It takes up too much space.
Games coming out for Genesis. Baseball Simulator 1000, fantastic game with a battery, so you could save all your characters in seasons. I love that game. It was great. magic of something.
Does it say that word anywhere? Oh, there it is. Shiraz
Maybe the worst font in history.
Yeah, I was trying to read that, and I was like, I don't even know what that says.
Oh, Flying Dragons double.
Ghostbusters for Genesis.
Look at
The
this.
better one, too. Yeah.
Look at this. Ghostbusters by Sega. And it was 4 meg. It was pretty powerful. Who are you going to call? From the silver screen to the 16-bit Genesis comes the video game version of everyone's favorite monster mashers, the Ghostbusters. Hey, why am I reading this to you? I'm going to pass this over to Will. This is like Will's thing.
Where'd you stop? Unlike previous computer and NES formats, Genesis Ghostbusters employs a much more appealing and graphically stunning action theme featuring 5 spooky buildings filled with ghosts, ghouls, and monstrous bosses. Graphic text screens help develop the story at the Ghostbustin' Trio. Make their way to the castle of an evil scientist. Multiple play techniques, dazzling graphics, and addictive challenge conspire to make this one the best. This one of the best Genesis carts yet. There we go. English. Duck, fire, aim up. Trap the spooks. Oh, man, the new this game was so good.
It was good. This is still my favorite Ghostbusters game. A really unique art style where they made them look like they had the likenesses of the actors, but they made them look like bobbleheads.
Yeah.
So they had really big heads and tiny bodies. Just a fantastic style. The whole style of the game artistically, I think, is gorgeous.
I don't know if they had that. They must have had that term back then, but it's like a lot of things call it now chibi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where you get like the big heads and like the kind of stout body type.
Yeah. No, it's really great. For anyone who has never played Ghostbusters on the Genesis, it's actually made by Sega. And it's so good. It's missing Winston, but I mean,
yeah, I still don't understand why they didn't have Winston in it.
Yeah, it's weird to me. I've often said, he joins a third of the way through the movie. Like he's not in the movie from the beginning, so maybe that's why. So they figure like, well, if you have limitations with memory, we'll just put 3 of them in. I don't know.
I guess, but whatever.
It doesn't seem right. But you guys got to check this game out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you can find a copy for sure.
Look at this. I'll tell you, it's expensive. This game has always been hard to get. It's always been very expensive. Yeah, look, so each level is laid out in like a Metroidvania style. So it's a side scroller. You can't see too far ahead of you. So you can't see the whole entire level, but there's multiple ways to navigate through each entire level, many different ways to go. There's mini bosses, and I say mini bosses, and a main boss in each level. Plus, there's a store. You can choose, you can buy weapons, you can buy power-ups, you can upgrade. And on the map screen, you can actually choose which house you want to go to in what order.
Yeah. It's a very early like Metroidvania style genre that we call them nowadays.
Yeah. And then it's very satisfying when you trap the ghost at the end. It's just like I don't want to use the word tug because it just sounds funny. This tug.
That is what it is though, right? Like they're basically having a tug of war with the ghosts to get them into the trap.
Yeah.
Not just a tug. They have a tug of war.
A tug technique that's special that only a few know how to do.
Yeah. If you just tug it right, then you can trap the ghost.
Exactly. Thank you. Bring that out. Shove it. We need actual like strats on shove it. I don't think so.
I feel like some of them, like you could get stuck on some of the later levels, probably, right? Because there is an order you're supposed to do them in.
That's fair, and I would be awful. I would lose so fast. Turbo Champ, there's your game, dude. They're telling you something here. It's like buy this game, Will.
Yeah, I need to find this one. I want to check it out.
Cybercore. It looks like it's a shooter, but like insecty. Oh my god. Josh, I love it. Yeah, this game's great.
What have you started? Yeah, it looks really cool. I like the big sprites and like the. I have a soft spot for like these top down like shooter type games, like 1942 and stuff. I love that stuff.
I really like the insect theme too of this one. That's pretty cool.
It's kind of unique, right? That's not something you see. Everything's like military stuff and
Yeah.
futuristic shooters. Nothing about like really bugs.
Batman. Oh wow.
That's a Game Boy?
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
obviously.
Whew, wow.
I don't know if I ever played that one.
Based off the Tim Burton film, Batman wipes out crime on the small screen. We may laugh at this now, but like stuff like this and like this screenshot here was very, very impressive. To get
For
to
a
like
handheld?
yeah, to get like this of Nicholson, like you could tell who it is at least. I think it's pretty good. And for being on the Game Boy back in the day, this is pretty cool. It's pretty impressive.
Huh, I wonder if this game was good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've ever played it. Again, not being a big Game Boy person, so I had the Mario, I had Kicks, Motocross Maniacs, but I didn't have like a lot of this stuff. Like I never played this. This looks like just a worse version of Punch Out to me. But
It's kind of when you think about it, like in the perspective of like having it on that tiny screen and on the go. That seems kind of neat, though.
true, very true. Do actors have to sign off and be compensated? Perhaps Mr. Hudson didn't agree. That was like this in the game.
I don't. I think, from my understanding, for some of that stuff, like they get like kickback royalties, but I think like their representation is used by the whoever like owns the license for it.
Well, you sign a contract. So the kickback, one of the most famous kickbacks was Carrie, Mark, and Harrison not getting paid as much to be in Star Wars, but getting a kickback on merchandise. Instant millionaires, like literally
Yeah.
those three actors still to this day get royalty checks from probably Colgate toothpaste because Han Solo appears on it, right? So my point is, yeah, that's a good deal. But I mean, merchandising, it was a risk back then. It wasn't a thing. I think that's a market that George created, man. But I guess it depends on the contract. That's it. Thank you to Retro Mags. Guys, check out Retro Mags, a wonderful site. This is where we get the PDFs. And
They're awesome.
I would love to dive into like EGM and Nintendo Powers too and stuff.
Oh man, Nintendo Power. Oh.
Like, wouldn't that be great?
I love Nintendo Power.
Stuff like that and go through that. We are running into the game stream, so I apologize, guys. I will take a short break and we'll be on that. And Willie, you're on it too?
Yeah, I'll be live at 2 this weekend. I'm just being live on Twitch, just because I'm testing things and seeing how things work. But anyways,
would you care to elaborate? You don't have to on stream, but I'm curious because I saw you wrote that and I didn't really know what you meant by that.
Well, since I started doing the multi-stream stuff, I've noticed like YouTube side of things. Generally, most people just tune in over on Twitch, so they'll either end up beginning like at YouTube side and then they'll eventually kind of just go over to Twitch. So I'm just curious, like I'm testing to see if number wise, if it's worth it or not to continue doing both or not, if that makes any sense.
I personally think your community, which is, a lot of it's our community, will go wherever you are. But
Yeah.
I do believe you're the opposite of me, where when I do multi-stream, I get hardly anything on Twitch. It's all on YouTube. You're like, you and I are like the opposite that way. I truly believe from what I've experimented that multi-streaming doesn't do anything for smaller creators like us. I think if you're Dr. Disrespect or Moist Critical or something, sure. But I think you got something there. I think you should do Twitch and YouTube separate streams. That's
yeah. Either way, like I'm still trying to build up the YouTube audience. We're getting up there. We just passed like 500 subscribers. So if you enjoy listening to me talk, I got some videos that I've launched this year. I have more videos coming out on the YouTube side outside of streaming stuff. And then, on twitch.tv, you can find me, same name, WillyLo. And then I stream 3 to 4 times a week over on Twitch. Yeah.
I think what are you doing today? What game are you doing?
We're going back to Valheim today. So I do a lot of open world survival games. We've been playing a lot of Enshrouded and Valheim. There's another game that's coming out that I may be getting into called Nightingale as well too. That comes out this week as well. So we'll see anyways. But I love just building stuff and playing with a community, and that's kind of what we do over there.
And you can catch me in just a little bit with our 7 Days to Die community stream. Again, I would like to get more of you guys into that game. If you are interested, you just need to be a channel member. You can do just the entry level tier if you like. That will get you access to our private server. Will, you have to come and play with us again.
I know. It's finding the time right now.
Oh, priorities. I get it. I'm last. I just call it what it is. It's fine.
It's not that.
It's fine. You just call it what it is. Okay.
Oh my gosh. You know what it's like between editing stuff and making stuff and then...
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I only got so much time in the day.
I just busted. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I believe it'll be just a gaming stream next week. I think Willie is not here next week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's my weekend to work.
Yeah,
Got to
so
do the adult life.
We'll be coming at you. Maybe I'll have something different planned for Sunday because I like the chill streams on Sunday, but not next week, but the week after we will be back. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we should watch another video game movie again. Maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, get that poll up and then we can get people voting what they'd like to see us watch maybe.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Okay, guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. And don't forget, Willie is live at 2 o'clock as well. All right, guys. We'll give you a cheers.
My friends.
We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.